Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast, A Court of Heaven and Hell. I'm Lauren, aka Heaven.
And I'm Ellie. I'm also known as Hel.
And if you don't already know, we are a book podcast currently focusing on the romantasy series, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. In this episode, we will be continuing our coverage of A Court of Mist and Fury with chapters 7 through 13. The episode structure will be first, plot summary, second, character discussions, and third, foreshadowing and world building. That being said, at this time, I want to go ahead and give a spoiler warning. This episode will contain spoilers for any books in the ACOTAR series. In order to fully dive in, we may need to speak about the other books that are in this series. So if you have not finished her other works, you will be safe. If you have not finished the 5 books currently out in this series, then make sure you save this video and come back to join us when you're done.
In addition to our spoiler warning, we want to give y'all a content warning. Please see our show notes for content and trigger warnings. We are an explicit podcast and we use adult language and talk about adult subjects. Please make sure to check out our other ACOTAR episodes if you haven't yet. And if you're interested in hearing us talk about other Sarah J. Maas books, we have several episodes about Crescent City, including the newly released House of Flame and Shadow, out now. Make sure to follow us for future episodes where we will be reviewing and theorizing the rest of the ACOTAR series and other romantasy novels. Finally, please take some time to rate and review us, or if you're watching this video on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and make sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. And now let's get into Akamath. Starting with chapter 7, we start off with Rhysand dropping the bomb to Feyre that war is coming. The King of Hybern, aka Lord Farquaad, if you know, you know, has been planning to take over both the human lands and the fairy lands for over 100 years, and he wants to shatter the wall dividing them, using Amarantha as his puppet. Now that bitch is dead, he's ready for his grand plan. Feyre learns how truly old Rhysand is when he tells her that he did indeed fight in the first war with the human-fairy alliance. First really big green flag for Rhysand. Not the first, but one of just a really big just green flag for Rhysand. He was on the side of the humans and the fairies, which is cool. Love that for him. Rhysand needs Feyre's help because Tamlin has ties with the King of Hybern, which is a red flag for Tamlin. And also, Feyre has the powers of all the High Lords, and she has really good hunting skills. But remember back in our last episode when Tamlin was all like, there's no such thing as a High Lady. Speaking of that, Rhysand thinks Feyre has what it takes. It's up to Feyre if she wants to help fight the war and save all of Prythian. Rhysand is nowhere to be found a little bit later, but don't worry, he still left some sentences for Feyre to write down. And she has to write the very famous sentences. Rhysand is the most handsome High Lord. Rhysand is the most cunning High Lord. Rhysand is the most delightful High Lord.
Period.
Feyre is becoming a mind shield master during all this training, and when Rhysand is back, she decides to bring back her eavesdropping from book 1. She was an eavesdropping queen. Also, shout out to Alice for telling her to do that. Okay.
Yeah, for real.
She overhears Mor talking to Rhysand about someone named Asriel and Cassian!
Oh, the bad
Okay, sorry.
boys.
Oh my god, I love them. Okay. Mor also mentions that another temple of priestesses was attacked. Rhysand goes full howl, you know, again, and his wings appear for the first time in front of Feyre. How does Rhysand have wings, you ask? He's half Illyrian. Illyrians are a warrior race within the Night Court lands, and some of them supported Amarantha. Ooh, yikes.
Yeah, not all of them are created equal. Just throw
They're
that out there.
not, but I love some Illyrians.
Yeah, we love the Bat Boys.
Yeah,
Some of them other Illyrians are throw them out with the bathwater, but it's okay. We love Emery, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. Feyre is learning a lot from her time here at the Night Court. Rhysand actually wants her to make her own choices, which is such a parallel to Tamlin. We will talk about that. The week is over in the night court, and now it's time for Feyre to face the spring court after being taken away by Rysand during her wedding. Oh my gosh. So Feyre is back in the spring court manor, and she notices that it has claws on the wall. The furniture is torn up, showing just how Tamlin feels. Instead of wanting to spend time with Feyre when she gets back and making sure she's okay, Tamlin insists on her telling him everything she saw there. So he goes full on interrogation mode. Literally, the second she gets back, he's like, "Oh, I missed you, but tell me everything." And she's just like, "Oh, let's spend some time together." And he's like, "No, tell me everything."
I can't. I literally can't. I hate him.
Again, if you love Tamlin, I would probably skip this episode. Love
I'm
y'all, but
sorry.
yeah. There's gonna be some rants incoming. Feyre ends up telling Tamlin and Lucien almost everything about the Night Court, leaving out some important parts. And Lucien is a little bit worried that the other High Lords, especially his father, will want to kill Feyre, knowing that she has some of his power. Tamlin is absolutely against Feyre training, while Lucien is trying to convince Tamlin it might be good. Feyre is nobody's subject, and she's starting to piece together how controlling Tamlin is. So, chapter 8, it's a week later, and it's time for the tithe. Remember that from the last chunk of the chapters we covered in our last episode. It's basically a tax that the Spring Court does for the citizens, even though Tamlin doesn't need any extra money or items. It's more a tradition that he feels like he needs to uphold in his court. Tamlin has been away for 6 days, still not telling Feyre where he is, what's going on, just any information. She's told by the great Ianthe to just sit and observe next to Tamlin during the tithe. For countless hours of listening to the offerings, a water wraith comes into the room and says that she doesn't have a payment for him. There's no fish in the pond. Okay. Tamlin replies with, quote, "Regardless, you are expected to pay." He extends their deadline by 3 days. While Feyre, who understands what it's like to have nothing, runs after the water wraith and offers up her jewelry. The water wraith is surprised but grateful for Feyre's kindness. She says, "My sisters and I will not forget this." Tamlin is super angry at Feyre for gifting away the jewelry and tells her she made the entire court look weak. While Lucien is defending Feyre, she is trying to communicate with him in her mind to not back down to Tamlin, but it goes too far. And wait, who is she? She's in Lucien's head and is seeing from his POV. Her powers are really starting to manifest. Chapter 9, trying to calm down from these new powers, Feyre goes for a midnight walk to clear her head, but she's not able to because she runs into Tamlin. He has a gift for her to apologize for how awful he's been lately. "It's totally okay that you're a piece of shit. Just give me a gift. That's totally forgivable." But she hates the gift. It is a new portable painting set. She doesn't even fucking paint, bro.
This is a this is a man who's not paying
It's
attention.
it's high key embarrassing that he doesn't even notice these things. Feyre asks if she can even roam around with this new painting set, and he doesn't reply. And that tells Feyre everything that she needs to know. She feels trapped, and Tamlin questions her if she even wants to marry him. She says, "Yes, I do, but I'm drowning with being inside all the guards that are around me." And Tamlin doesn't like that response. So he unleashes his powers and destroys the windows, the painting set, and the furniture.
All right, guys, moving on to chapter 10. All I can say is thank God Feyre's instincts kicked in, and she is protected by a wall of air she fashions without thinking. The office and her new gift is shattered and sprayed on the wall, with the red paint reminding her of blood. Tamlin immediately starts making excuses, and after apologizing fiercely, he convinces her to forgive him. But Feyre is just sinking further and further into herself. As time goes on, he relaxes with the guards a little bit, and they try to continue with their lives. He stays away majority of the time, but conveniently comes back to spend some a week right before the time she is to leave again. When Rhys comes to collect Feyre, of course he spends a little bit of time riling Tamlin before he actually lays eyes on her. All teasing swiftly stops when he sees the state of our girl. She has lost more weight, and we see that the feisty spirit that she usually possesses is nowhere to be found. Tamlin makes a last ditch effort to buy Feyre's freedom from the bargain by offering literally anything, but thankfully, our shadow daddy isn't a man in need of much. He takes Feyre back to the Night Court. In chapter 11, once there, he immediately asks her what the hell is going on. Feyre doesn't have the playful banter in her and just wants to go to her room. Rhys convinces her to eat and asks why he felt a moment of pure terror down the bond this month. We learn that he hasn't been feeling much from Feyre, almost as if she's dead sometimes, and he has to check in just to make sure that's not the case. Feyre keeps brushing it off, but Rhys knows that Tamlin was the cause, and he's not happy about it. Switching subjects, he asks Feyre if she's given any more thought to assisting him in the war, and she simply declines. She believes Tamlin is trying and doesn't want to risk angering him or pushing him away. Attempting to continue their lessons from her last visit, Rhys sets her up with reading his self-glorifying phrases, and he tries to enter her mind. She is easily able to read the sentences and blocks him with no issues due to her having nothing better to do as of late other than practice. After showing him up, she leaves and spends the rest of her day in her room in solitude. Rice leaves after that, leaving her some books and a note saying that he will be attending to business elsewhere, but she need only reach out to him if she needs him. Shocker, she doesn't, and ends up spending the next few days alone. He returns right before it's time for her to go home and begs her to tell him what he can do to help her. He can see that she's not doing well and accuses Tamlin of simply not giving a fuck. He tells her that if she continues like this, then Amarantha will have truly won. With no choice other than to take her back to the spring court, he returns her, and of course Tamlin is there waiting. For some reason, he growls at Feyre like it's her fault, and she already knows that she'll be back to being guarded 24/7 as soon as she sees him. Again, though, she makes excuses for him, and after he interrogates her again and then spends the night with her, surprise, she's back to having a security detail the next day.
I can't, dude. I fucking hate this guy.
Moving on to chapter 12. Upon her return, Tamlin amps up her guards and she isn't allowed out of the house. While Lucien and Tamlin are away dealing with some no-name threat, Ianthe slithers her way back to Feyre's side. At this point, all the other members of the court have been sent away to Feyre's relief, and Ianthe is the only one allowed in. Thankfully, her reading is getting better because she has nothing else to do, and reading is one of her only means of escape. Tamlin returns from his important work a little over a week later, and after briefly kissing her on the head and inspecting her, he goes to have a secret meeting with Ianthe and Lucien. Catching sight of Lucien's hair, for a split second, she thinks that he is Amarantha and turns into Wolverine. Lucien, seeing this, questions her, how long has it been going on? And sets himself to talk to Tamlin. But even he knows there's only so much he can do. Feyre goes to sleep after her conversation with Lucien and wakes up to only eat dinner. As she goes downstairs, she hears the raised voices of the three amigos. Tamlin and Ianthe seem determined to keep Feyre safe by acting like these powers are not manifesting. Lucien is trying to defend her and make them see straight, but he's talking to two brick walls. Feyre feels a pulse of power, and Tamlin threatens Lucien. Not even wanting to consider what happened, she finds herself going back to bed without even eating. Dragging herself out of bed the next day, she begins to walk around the house, noticing how quiet it is. She begins to blame herself for why she's been having outbursts of power. Poor girl thinks that the manifesting of her own powers is an outburst. And she thinks to herself, the silence is overwhelming. She needs to get out of this house. Running into Tamlin and Lucien on their way out, she begs Tamlin to let her come with him. He says no, and seeing that she intends to possibly try to come after them, demands her to stay there and physically locks her in by sealing all the entrances. Feyre is in a state of disarray. She cannot believe he has locked her in and begins to freak the fuck out, encasing herself in a manifestation of most of her powers. At Rhea's command, Moore comes to rescue her, knocking out the sentries and carrying her out. She keeps reassuring her that she is free before taking her across state lines and passing her to Rhys, who takes her to the Night Court. Chapter 13, Feyre awakens in the Night Court to find Rhys also there. He tells her about what occurred and that she doesn't have to go back to the Spring Court unless it's what she wishes. Rhys reiterates his offer to her, saying she will be cared for in all ways if she only agrees to work with him. Feyre considers. She still feels some allegiance to the Spring Court, but she doesn't want to go back. She is incredulous at the fact that Tamlin actually locked her up. After discussing her potential powers, Rhysand informs her that he has business to attend to elsewhere for a few days, but she can make herself at home. Feyre doesn't want to be left alone and pleads with Rhysand to take her with him. Hesitating, he informs her that she can come, but if she does, she will be crossing a line she cannot come back from. Once she leaves the palace, she will never be able to share what she sees or hears with anyone at the risk of bringing harm to his people. Unable to bear the thought of being alone and locked in again, she agrees to his terms, and he whisks her off to Valaris. Getting into our character discussions, let's talk a little bit about Alice. Alice is like a little MVP here, okay? She's worried about Feyre. She sees her. She is responsible for literally taking care of her, so I think that she feels a little bit more responsible than a lot of the other people there because she directly can see the deterioration of Feyre. But like when Moore comes to get her, she's like, please take care of her, and basically gives her to Moore. Is like, get her the fuck out of here, bro. Like, this is not good for her. Everybody can see that it's not good for her. Everybody except for two fucking terrible ass people.
Literally.
But yeah, so we love Alice. And then someone we don't love is Ianthe. I hate her so fucking much. She is snaky as fuck. She is busy convincing Tamlin of all the wrong things in this portion. She's the one that like convinces him that he needs to make the water wraith pay her tithe, like even though she doesn't have it. Like she's the one who convinces him that like he doesn't need to let Feyre train and doesn't need to let her do anything, that they'll come for her if they find out about her powers. Like this bitch is the worst. Like she's just awful. You could tell that these high priestesses are supposed to be like these knowledgeable, wise, super compassionate people, and she's just everything that they're fucking not. And I can't stand her. And it bothers me so much that Tamlin just follows her blindly. He doesn't have fucking eyes and can't see what's going on. Lucien doesn't like her. Your best friend in the whole world doesn't fuck with her. Why is it that you're just taking everything that she says at face value? I can't. Obviously, we find out later, she betrayed us? No fucking shit. She's a fucking person. I'm sorry. I can't.
I hate her.
Yeah, she's bad. She's up there with Amarantha. She's up there with just the worst of them. Like, she's definitely in the villain category. Even here, shit with her is just not quite right. Like, early in the first portion of chapters that we covered, she definitely was like a little bit off. You're like, what is this person's intentions? What, I don't know, just what is her deal? But in this portion of chapters, like you really get into more like she's going behind Feyre's back. She's not a good person. She doesn't have good intentions. And she's very selfish, very like centered. Like everything is about what she can get from it. And I can't stand her. I can't stand her.
Yeah, obviously she has the vibe of she's planning something, and obviously she is, but
Yeah.
I
We know that now. Yeah. But yes, shit's off. We should have definitely, if we didn't, I don't remember seeing it, to be fair. Granted, I don't remember the first time I read this. It was years ago, but she's the worst. Moving on to somebody who we do love is Moore, Feyre's rescuer. She's strong. She's brave. She saves Feyre. She wants to befriend Feyre. Like, she really wants to actually form a friendship with her, not like Ianthe wants to form a friendship with her. But like just Moore going into the Spring Court knowing that it was going to be a fight, a possible battle. Like she says to Alice as she's leaving, she's like, you better be thankful that your High Lord wasn't here, because if he was, I'd have fucked him up, is basically like what she says.
period.
Like, your sentries are knocked out, like they'll wake up, they'll be okay, they might have some headaches, but it could have been a lot worse if Tamlin was here, so be thankful. I just love her. She's got bad bitch energy.
Yeah, Moore's awesome. A part in these chapters where Feyre is like, oh, Moore didn't come see me when you were gone, Rysand. And he was like, you never reached out to her. And she was like, oh, Moore didn't want to like infiltrate her personal space. So she was waiting
Yeah.
for an invitation from Feyre herself, which I appreciate. Moore's a queen.
Yeah, she's got the balance of being there, but not being overwhelming or to force things on you, but letting you know, I'm here if you need me,
Yeah.
like when you're ready, but not overbearing on trying to manipulate you into being friends with
Hmm.
me.
I like,
So,
what do you want for your wedding? Oh, you don't want red roses? Oh, I'm gonna do that anyway.
oh, it's cool. It's what I want.
I died.
They'll love it. I can't. He
God, I
fucking sucks.
can't.
That wasn't the moment that I hated her. There definitely was more to come, but like I think that was at least the first time I read it. That moment, I was like, "Oh, this bitch. She's not a girl's girl. Like she's a bitch. Like she's
I
fucking
feel
pick
like when I
me."
first maybe I also can't remember exactly how I felt when I first read these books because I wasn't, again, I said this 1,000 times, I wasn't really analyzing characters at this point, but
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure when I first met Ianthe, I was thinking that she was gonna try to fuck Tamlin.
She gives those vibes. She's not
She
like
does
it's
give
like
that, she
something's
gives the
up.
vibes of I'm trying to steal your man.
Yeah, it's major
Yeah,
pick me vibes, and I'm not
it's
here
pick me
for it.
vibes for sure.
Big pick me
Pick me,
vibes.
choose me. She really does do that to Bryce and
To
Lucian.
Reese, to Lucian, to any man that she can get her hands on. She's terrible. I can't stand her. And none of them want you. Wonder what the common
Yeah,
denominator is.
here we
Here we go.
go. Buckle up, y'all. We're gonna get into the main characters. Okay, we're gonna start with a good one. We're gonna do a
Yes.
little refresh before we get into someone else. But Lucian, okay, Lucian. I know some people give him shit in this part of the book, but he's really trying. He's trying to vouch for Feyre. He is trying to convince Tamlin, who he sees as his brother, pretty much. Like he sees Tamlin as his bestie brother. They're as close as they possibly can get,
Mhm.
and he probably feels like he's the only person that could convince Tamlin, hey, you're being controlling. But Tamlin doesn't even want to listen to him. So it's just, I'm so
Yeah.
glad Lucian ends up getting out of this scenario too, even though I do know that he does still have a lot of love for Tamlin. I'm just glad that he put distance between them because this ain't it. Like he treats you like shit too, bro.
And that's the thing. Tamlin's just out here just for himself, literally. He's got that selfish because it's this is your best friend and you talk to him. He's literally dirt on the bottom of your fucking shoe. You're not looking out for this girl that you say that you love. Sorry, let me not get too far into
No,
Tamlin,
literally,
but
I was about to say it's the way. We were trying to talk about Lucian. I immediately was like, Evelyn. I'm sorry. Okay.
it's okay. I'll get to Tamlin. I'll get to Tamlin. But poor Lucian right now. He's trying to stand up for Feyre, but Tamlin is just shooting
Yeah.
him the fuck down every time that he tries to speak up. Now, I will say it does make me sad because it's like there definitely is a few moments where I needed him to stand up for not only Feyre, but I needed him to stand up for himself. Do not let Tamlin talk to you like that. Like you are strong in your own right. I know that you don't know this, but you are literally an heir to a court too. You're stronger than you fucking think that you are. I need you to not let this man try to walk all over you. And not only is Lucian heir to a court, but he's heir to one of the solar courts, which means he's probably stronger than Tamlin actually, if he really delved into his full power. So I just feel like do not let this man fucking walk all over you. And it makes me sad that he even has to deal with that. But I do understand where he's coming from because Tamlin saved him in a very low point in his life when he had nobody else that he could go to. When his own brothers tried to kill him and killed the love of his life, like Tamlin was there to pick up the pieces. So I do understand why he feels this undying loyalty to Tamlin, but it's just so misplaced, unfortunately. And he is a good friend to Feyre and he does try, but this is just an unfortunate period of time for him. And it's unfortunate that he gets dragged into Tamlin shenanigans throughout this entire book, honestly, and doesn't really get to separate himself until the next books. But yes, I still love Lucian. He's still sweet baby Lucian. Like, I
Yeah.
love him. I see what he's trying to do. I understand why he feels he can't do what he needs to do. But that part just breaks my heart, like knowing that he knows what's happening is not right. He has eyes. He can see Feyre. He can see the shit's not okay. And he's just in this position where he can't even do anything about it. And that just makes me feel for him more than I feel for Voldemort over here.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Tamlin. We're doing
You
it.
can
I am just gonna talk out of my ass at this point. I don't have anything written down about how I feel about Tamlin because honestly, I don't need to write this down. But okay, chapter 8. This is the biggest what the fuck Tamlin moment for me. I'm sorry. You literally are going to tell someone who doesn't have anything to give you, it's 3 days you're gonna have someone to give me. Oh, are you that tone deaf? I'm over here like you literally know what your fiance has fucking been through. You know so much that you offered to help out her family, which you did. That's great. Love that for you. Why can't you also do the same shit for the people in your fucking court that you're supposed to protect?
because he's worried about looking weak. He
I
doesn't want to look weak.
bro, your ego is fucking large, and that is the only large thing about you. You are a
Period.
small ass man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't I mean, yeah, your heart this
It's just
big.
the way
I
that he
can't.
has like power moves or some shit just to make himself feel fucking big. Anyway, I just wanted to point out that the tithe shit bothers me to my core because I just don't understand how you, who is someone who has so much, is trying to take away from people who don't have anything. Literally after a whole fucking 50 years where y'all were literally like enslaved to this awful bitch. Huh? Like you're going to immediately make this tax thing happen again? Like I don't fucking get it. I don't get
Yeah.
it. That shit is so evil. And then you get mad at Feyre for helping.
Yeah, it definitely is indicative of the kind of ruler that Tamlin is and will be if he's allowed to continue ruling. I don't personally believe he's learned anything in regards to that. Tamlin is by the books,
Mhm.
conservative, very this is the way it's been done, so it's the way it will always be done. Traditionalist, like just I can acknowledge that my father was a piece of shit, but I'm gonna do things exactly the same way he did. It's like the opposite of where Rhysand sees that his dad was a piece of shit and is I want to do everything I can do to not be my father, whereas Tamlin's like, oh, my dad was a piece of shit. He aligned with Hybern. He wanted to make the human slaves. I didn't agree with that, but I'm going to do shit the way that he did because that's the way that we've always done it. And that's the way that we're going to do it because that's the way that things work. And I don't have a brain for myself and I can't fucking think my own thoughts. So I'm just going to do this the way that it's always been done and just hope for the fucking best. What the hell is wrong with you? Your girl's right. It's not a weakness to listen to the people around you that love you and care for you and are trying to steer you in the right direction. You can listen to this bitch Ianthe, but you can't trust the person that you want to marry? It doesn't make any fucking
Mic drop.
sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Why do you want to marry this girl if you can't even take her opinion or her thoughts into consideration? You think she's dumb? So why are you marrying her? If
It's
not to
also
control her.
it's the way that you won't even let her leave the fucking house. You won't let her go outside.
I can't.
It's giving prisoner.
Obviously, this stretch of chapters has several very bad moments for Tamlin. So this is probably like the worst of the slander that he's going to get. He fucks up a lot
Yeah.
more, but this is like some of his worst moments. So,
Worst moments for
of
sure.
course, we have chapter 8 where the tithe and all of that. And then I believe it's chapter 9, where at the end he explodes in a fit of anger and potentially hurts Feyre if it wasn't for the fact that she has her own magic and protected herself and destroys his study. The gift that he just bought her, everything around him, he can't fucking control himself. And he admits, like to her, oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes the rage is just too much. I can't control it. Like, you need to fucking seek therapy, bro. It's not okay. If you know that you're having rage issues to this extent, you understand that you're struggling and you're not in control of it. You need to fucking find a way to get it together, okay? Controlling Feyre, like controlling everything that she does. I don't understand how this is helping you. Go talk to Lucian. Go talk to your best friend. Obviously, therapists aren't just roaming around Prithian or whatever, but why don't you feel comfortable going to Ianthe and talking to her about this? Talk to somebody. It's clear that you understand that you're having anger management issues. So I don't understand why you're just, oh, I'm sorry, I just can't control it. And then I just go about my day and just fucking act like it's not an issue. It's a fucking problem. I
Well,
can't.
it's the amount of times now, just up to these chapters, that we learn that he likes to tear apart furniture and punch walls, basically.
The whole house, the dining room, the study.
So it's such a red flag. It's a heavy fucking subject, but it's domestic violence.
100% when he like explodes and Feyre
Mhm.
is there. I know it's not real, but if you put this into real world like situation, if somebody was tearing up the shit around you, if somebody gives you a gift and you're like, you don't accept it well, or you don't like it, or you don't give them the reaction that they want, and due to that, they tear it up in front of you and throw it on the walls and destroy shit and break everything in the room, you would consider that domestic violence, even if they didn't put their hands on you. And if
Right.
they did put their hands on you and the only reason that you were able to deflect it was because you had like a shield or something, you like that is 100% like domestic violence. It's sad that Feyre even has to deal with this. And then we see her at this point go into the darkest that we've seen her so far. She has lost who she is as a person. She's not Feyre anymore. She is a shell of herself. She is not doing all right, to the point that when Reese sees her, he immediately is like, what the fuck is going on here? Do you not have food? Like, why does she look like this? Why? I can see that something's not right with her. Why is Tamlin, who sleeps next to her, he can fuck her, but he can't fucking pay attention to her? Disgusting. Every single time he goes to have sex with her, every single time he goes to get what he wants from her while still ignoring the signs of all the things that she's suffering from, it kills a part of my fucking soul. It kills a part of my fucking soul. It makes me so sad reading part one of this book, honestly. I cried this time around, and I've read
Me
this book
too.
3 times. I literally cried when I got to chapter 12 when he locks her in. I cried. It is so emotional, and just hearing the way that Feyre describes it, I can't believe he locked me in. I can't believe he locked me in. His behavior is disgusting. The way he talks to Lucien, the way that when Lucien is trying to defend Feyre during the tithe, when he was like, it's not that big of a deal. Bigger things have happened. Worse things can happen. And he's like, did I ask your opinion? What the fuck? Just when he's trying to defend Feyre and telling Tamlin that he should train her, and he's, don't trust me on this. What is wrong with you, dude? This is your best friend, somebody that you care about. This is your future wife, somebody that you love and care about. No offense, but as much as I think that he's deserving of a redemption arc as anybody is if they put in the work, you're alone and depressed and miserable and sad because of your own fucking actions. And that's just it. It's hard for me to have sympathy for him about where he is in his journey at this point in ACOTAR, the whole series, because, and I'm not even talking about Akamath, I'm talking about the end of Silver Flames, because much as you were struggling and going through your own shit, you did this to yourself. You're the reason that shit has gotten to this point. I understand that there was a whole lot of confusion about you being a double agent and you weren't really working with Hybern, but you were working with Hybern. I don't even care about all of that. This portion of chapters right here is enough for me to be like, you deserve to sit in timeout for a little while.
Yeah. Which is what he has been doing, but and I'm glad that he has those, like, this sounds terrible saying, but I'm glad that he has those moments of depression because he fucking needs it. He needs to be humbled. He needs to realize what he did wasn't okay, and he needs to learn from it, and he needs to better himself. And I do think he will. I know there's like a lot of, I guess, like double standards for men not showing their emotions, but you don't need to show them in this violent way, but you need to talk to someone. It's okay to talk about your fucking feelings. You need to do that, or you can end up like fucking Tamlin. Just talk to someone. You don't need to be taking out all this shit on this fucking girl that you just met, who you kidnapped, and now you're literally throwing furniture around her. And if you wonder why she doesn't want to be with you anymore,
It's the idea that Rhysand stole something from him. Feyre's not fucking property. She doesn't belong to you. He didn't steal her from you. But if he came in and started doing the right shit and showed her that the kind of love that she deserves and she chose to be with him, and you're mad about that, then that's a you problem, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. How many times did she basically tell Rhys to fuck off because she was still on Tamlin's side and was like, he's trying to change, he's trying to do these things. She shouldn't have had to do any of that. It's so hard for me. Maybe when we get to Akawar, I'll be back in the mood of, oh, I feel bad for Tamlin. But part one of Akamath is not where I'm going to be the one to defend him. I'm sorry. He fucked up in every way possible. He had so many opportunities. He brought this on himself. And the actions he takes after this don't do anything to make it better. They only serve to make it worse. So, sorry. Don't know what to tell you. Ick.
Yeah, and there's even a part in these. Okay.
Hi,
There's even
Sid.
a part in these. Hello. She's like, Mom, I heard you were getting angry, so I had to come make sure you were okay.
Yeah,
See, Tamlin, you need to get a fucking cat. Get a cat. You're going to feel so much better. Get a cat that knows how to read your emotions. They'll come to you when you're upset, and you just give them a little pet, and you go, you know what? It's going to be okay.
It's going to be all right, man.
Okay.
God.
What I was saying, there's even a passage in the span of chapters where Feyre's telling Rhysand, I think I'm starting to realize that I fell in love with the first thing that showed me affection and attention, which is really what it was. It's almost like she didn't actually love or was in love with Tamlin, but she just loved the idea of him, in my opinion.
We can go ahead and switch gears to Feyre now because that kind of
Sure.
ties into it. But yeah, I definitely think Feyre's past and the life that she had growing up definitely affected a lot of that. First of all, let's just throw it out here. She's fucking 19 years old when this thing comes to her house and rips her away from everything she's ever known. While he does provide her with a better life for at least a time, as far as better in the sense of she's not going hungry. She's not like in a very uncomfortable situation with people that are not treating her well. How long does that last before she ends up in a completely fucked up situation again? First of all, you did it to manipulate her. Let's not forget about that. You didn't come save her out of the goodness of your fucking heart. You did it to manipulate her. And you did. You succeeded in manipulating her. And this poor girl is paying for it ever since. She, like you said, fell in love with the first person that showed her the slightest bit of affection and attention. And if Tamlin hadn't locked her up on the spring court and forced her to be only around him and showered her with gifts and things that she had never had, would she have even fallen for him in the first place? If he had truly just let her go live in Prithian and not kept her under his wing, would that have even happened? Then she comes back to save you because she believes that she's in love with you. And I do believe that she loves him. I'm not saying that she doesn't love him. I'm not invalidating that. But she comes back because of that and puts herself in a extremely fucked up situation where she's kept prisoner, she's tortured, she's beaten, she's starved. She has to fucking make a bargain with somebody she hates to save her life. And all the while you do nothing but sit next to the person who's doing all of this to her and act like you don't have a fucking. After she gets out of the situation and literally dies to save you and every fucking other person in Prithian, she comes back and becomes your prisoner. So, yeah, you gave her a gilded cage, but she's still in a fucking cage. You give her no power, no rights. You treat her like she's a fucking dumbass, which I'm not saying that she has this great knowledge or that she's this super, like, political mind who should have been allowed to just come in and start making decisions. But if you're fucking thinking about marrying somebody, you should at the very least take their opinion into consideration and value their thoughts and feelings on shit. You should be checking in with them and they should be checking in with you. So I do have to say that goes for Feyre checking in with him as well. But Tamlin wasn't giving her anything. And I don't know. Like it just, the whole thing's sad, but she's depressed as fuck. She's clearly suffering from PTSD. And I don't just throw terms like that around. She's depressed, bro. Sleeping all day, barely eating, she doesn't want to talk to anybody. She doesn't want to be around anybody, even people that she likes and cares about. It's not okay. She's literally losing who she is as a person. And this part, and honestly most of the next part of this book, just always break my heart and just remind me why I do have the great love for Feyre that I do, because Feyre really did fucking put herself through a lot for other people, and seeing her journey to grow to become the person that she is now, I love that for her, because she from the jump had it harder than maybe any character. Maybe not any character, but she has had one of the hardest stories that I've ever read, as far as truly what her life was like up to the point that she's at now. And then even when she's happy, she almost fucking dies giving birth to her fucking child.
I'm so okay with her being more of like a side character now in the upcoming books, because the girl needs to fucking chill. Like, she doesn't need it. Even not even her own book, she almost died again.
Wasn't even about her.
Sarah, can we please leave Feyre alone? She's gone through enough. Okay.
Literally, she needs some rest. Let our baby girl rest, man. She has
Yeah.
been
I
through
think
it.
Yeah, I think she definitely is gonna take a huge backseat, especially with like her sisters now being like the shining ladies of
Right.
the series and everything, which I'm okay with because I want more about their story, but she needs to just enjoy her life. She
I
is
want
in a
her to,
great place.
exactly. I want her to be
So
there so I know she's okay. But I just want her to
yeah,
be off mothering her baby, enjoying painting her paintings, running her
yeah,
art, living her best life on the river, and not involved in any of these shenanigans.
yeah. She doesn't need to see Tamlin ever again, even though I'm sure she will. But I would
even
be
though
okay if she
even though it
doesn't.
that does suck, because I guess we could talk about in this portion, Feyre is just coming into a lot of her fucking abilities and powers, and I would love to see more of that
Oh my
without
god,
her
that
being
is
in
such a good
danger.
point.
Because I don't want her to be the center point of a story,
Ooh.
but she is the sweetest of all the fucking people as far as what she can do. And I feel like we haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg of getting to
Yeah.
see her really use her powers in a true battle. This say this, but like this bitch is literally like the fucking avatar. Like, I want to see her use all of her powers in a badass way.
She's having a rough time in these chapters, but this is her lowest point. What's going on around her sucks. There's a war coming.
Like you said, this is definitely her lowest. Like, this is because every time that we talk about her in this stretch of chapters, especially when Reese comes to pick her up for the second visit to the night court, and he's messing with Tamlin, giving him shit, and then he sees her and he immediately like straight faces, what the hell is going on here? That, I don't know why that scene just so vividly, I can see that in my mind. And I just imagine Feyre opening that door, and I just imagine what she looks like to make Reese have that reaction. And it just breaks my heart every single time.
I don't know how the fuck he didn't punch Tamlin in that moment. Just
Like,
knowing that, oh, that's my mate, and I haven't told you that is my mate, and
right.
you literally are taking the worst care of her. She's obviously not doing okay. But Rysan, during these chapters, he's trying to help Feyre, obviously, and he's very worried for her. And he also is the only person who is giving her information. The only person. She literally doesn't even know him. She doesn't even know him at all. She just knows, oh, that's the dude I made a deal with under the mountain, and he's the High Lord of the Night Court. That's all she knows. And yet he's the one who's telling her there's a war coming, there's a king of Hybern, he's trying to shatter the wall, there's winnowing, you have all these powers.
No, for
And Tamlin's,
real.
I'm not going to tell you anything. It's too dangerous for you as a woman. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Tamlin is
It
so misogynistic.
He is, and he's trying to keep her dumb and easily controllable, and that's 100% what it is. Reese teaches her to read, and he says, "You're going to be the wife of a high lord one day. You need to learn how to read." And why doesn't Tamlin share that sentiment? Because he doesn't want a wife. He wants like a fucking plaything that is just there for his pleasure, that does what he
Yeah.
tells them to do, that is there to look pretty like a fucking vase of flowers, and you're here to be fucking seen and not heard, and I don't want you to have your own mind. I want you to do whatever I tell you to do. And it's just like, that's the stark fucking contrast between these two men. They're light and dark, but Tamlin is the fucking dark one and Rhys is the fucking light one. And it's just so funny. Everybody's so scared of Rhys and like the Dark Lord. He's the Night Court, the Court of Nightmares, and he's this awful person. When in reality, he's the fucking softie that is like actually a good person, that has real friends, that actually love him and care about
Literally.
him, that has like a real family, that actually cares about his fucking people, actually cares about his people enough to get trapped under the mountain for 50 years and sacrifice himself just to save them. Tamlin, he's light and spring and golden haired and wonderful. No, this man fucking sucks. He takes from his people when they have nothing to give. He abuses his fucking partner. He aligns with terrible people, and his personality sucks. I'm sorry. His personality is trash.
Yeah.
I have yet to see any good personality from him. I can't dwell on Tamlin for too long. I start to really get worked up,
Yeah,
especially during
same.
this part of chapters.
We're going to try to settle it down a little bit, and we're going to move on from our character discussions to our foreshadowing and world building section.
Mm-hmm.
So, my favorite foreshadowing thing that happens is we get a mention of Azriel and Cassian, who are,
Ooh.
okay, if you didn't know this, I hope most of y'all do, because I talk about this guy a lot. Cassian is my man.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
love
gonna be some
him.
good stuff coming up with Hel and Cassian.
I can't wait to get to Silver Flames. We
Oh
get to
yeah.
those chapters, and I could be like, girl.
Mm.
Okay, also, I love Azriel. Azriel's like my number 2 bat boys. I love him. He's growing on me a lot. A lot he's growing on me. I really love
Yeah.
him. Anyway, I'm very excited to meet the Inner Circle in the next chapters. It's going to be so much fun. I love the Inner Circle.
Yeah, they're a good
But
group.
yeah.
They're a good group. I also love Azriel. I can't decide between Azriel and Cassian. I want to hang out with both of them. Like
I'm
they're
okay with
both
all of
like
them.
on a mantle. I know they're just I just love them. They're opposites of each other in the best way.
They really are. And I love it because it's my type is literally them too. It's very confusing because like I love like a shy, quiet bad boy, but I also love an over the top golden retriever.
And it's literally like them. They work, but they do. They're peanut butter and jelly, bro. Like they go
Yeah.
together. I love them.
I understand Nesta's dream.
Girl knows what's up. But yeah, we can't wait to get into more of them in the next part with you guys because they really start to show up and be a part of the story. But yeah, Azriel and
Yeah.
Cassian, we love them.
Chef's kiss. Okay, also in one of the first chapters of this portion, we also learn that the priestesses have been getting attacked by someone. We do learn later on in Silver Flames that this actually was King of Hybern's army, and they did attack a lot of their temples, and that is how Gwen got to be at the House of Wind library, because Azriel saved her, and now she's becoming a way bigger character in Akatar. I love Gwen. I feel bad for her. But yeah, I fuck King of Hybern. I don't get why the fuck he is like, let's go attack priestesses. Maybe because Ianthe wanted to be the top bitch. That's what it wasn't it?
I don't remember that, but it adds the fuck up. It adds the fuck up that Ianthe would tell
I
him to
hate
do that
Ianthe. It's
because
the way I'm
she
like,
wanted to be number one.
yeah, I'm like, Ianthe, aren't those technically your sworn in sisters? You're willing to be like, yeah, let's kill them so I can be number 1.
Yeah, Ianthe's trash. She's trash.
Again, she's not a girl's girl. I don't like her. Ugh, okay. Also, literally one of the most biggest foreshadowing in this fucking book, the water wraith that we meet tells Feyre that her and her sisters will not forget this kindness. And they don't. They show the fuck up later in this book. They're like, Feyre, you're drowning. We got you. We're going to save you. And now our debt is paid. I literally was so stressed when I was reading that scene later in
Yeah.
the book when they go to steal the half of the book of breathings. They're in this chamber. There's water rising. They're really about to drown. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? How is Amrit and Feyre going to get out of this? But
Yeah.
don't worry. Feyre's goodness of her heart action comes through and she gets the best type of karma, and I love that.
And that's why we treat people with respect.
Period. You never know when you're drowning. There might be a water wraith that might come save you, okay, guys?
And that's why we show just a little bit of fucking compassion, okay? We're all people at the end of the day. And you never know when you could help somebody with their misfortune and they come back to fucking help you, bro. Also, around this time, we get Lucian defending Feyre to Tamlin. And he literally tells Tamlin, worse things have happened. Worse things can happen. Just relax. And Tamlin basically tells him to shut the fuck up. Did I ask for your opinion? No. But this is foreshadowing in a big way because not only is he right that worse things have happened than Feyre giving Water Wraith some jewels, but literally worse things do happen because Tamlin couldn't fucking control himself and control his anger. Just saying. And then moving on to chapter 9, we are starting to see Feyre's powers increase. Like she's getting stronger. Homegirl is OP. She can wield wind. She can burn shit like with a touch. She can shapeshift. She can read and enter people's minds. And that's just what we know she can do so far. She's like a one woman X-Men team over here, okay? That is why when I say that I want her to take a seat and get a chance to relax, I do, but at the same time, I feel like we have not even touched the surface of like how badass Feyre actually could be. She
Right.
has the potential to be just incredible. And I would love to see her in an actual battle sequence. We get a little taste of it in this book and in Akawar, but I think that we have yet to truly see what Feyre can do. And I also think that that has will come back around in a later chapter when I get to the foreshadowing about something else, but it's a very interesting discussion that we'll have about that then. And then also around this time, Tamlin goes into a rage and loses control and literally explodes his magic against Feyre, as we all know. And we see Feyre use this to her advantage to manipulate Tamlin later in the book in Akawar. So when she goes back to infiltrate the Spring Court, she uses his short fuse and his short temper to her advantage to make herself and appear vulnerable to other people because she knows that he still hasn't done the work to fucking manage his emotions. And it works. He plays right into her hands. So we'll talk about that when we get there, but definitely some foreshadowing for an event that occurs in the next book there. Then we have in chapter 10, Tamlin basically says that he can't control his anger sometimes. And he asks her to move past it and forget it. And that just plays more into what I was just talking about, where like in later books, Feyre actually uses that to her advantage and takes like control of the fact that he can't control his own emotions. And she uses that to make herself a martyr to the rest of the court and basically tear down the Spring Court from the inside. So Tamlin should have learned his lesson. And also, when you hurt somebody like that, you shouldn't ask them to just fucking, oh, forgive me and move past it. Not the correct actions to take when you have a situation like that. Just saying. And then a little bit later on, when Rhys takes Feyre back to the Night Court, he's spending time with her and she asks him if he doesn't have other things to deal with. And this is just one of those moments where it's just one of those sentences that makes me love Rhysand so fucking much. But he says, of course I do. I have so many things to deal with that I'm sometimes tempted to unleash my power across the world and wipe the board clean, just to buy me some damned peace. But I'll always make time for you. He's not even her mate officially yet. He's not even in a relationship with her yet. And he's making this declaration for her, which is what Tamlin should have done because Tamlin
Period.
at this point is constantly gone. Feyre can't get a hold of him. He only he'll lock himself up in his study all day and then he'll only come to visit her at night, which is fucking red flag. I can't. It is.
Oh my god. I need to shut the fuck up about Tamlin. But dude, literally, Rhysand really is saying all the right shit. He's like, oh, I know Tamlin ain't it. He is so gross. Now I'm gonna make this girl feel so amazing.
I'm gonna do the right thing, bro. Tamlin ain't
Yeah,
shit.
I'm gonna
Tamlin ain't
treat her.
shit.
Tamlin ain't shit.
This is the bare
I'm gonna-
minimum. I'm over here gushing because I'll always make time for you.
No,
Bro, I'm over here
seriously.
gushing because
Dude,
she's been treated so poorly up until this point that I'm just like, oh,
again, calling back what I said a few episodes ago, the bar is on the fucking floor. But at least Raisan is making the bar go up.
yeah.
Okay.
At least he's
Okay.
teaching her like a little bit about the fucking love that she deserves because she deserves the world. This is literally the savior of the fucking free world as far as Prithian is concerned. There's a reason that like she's revered in the fucking towns and they don't want like her to help because like they feel like she's already done enough. She did. She literally died for these people. I feel like that's something that like Tamlin doesn't ever give enough credence to. This girl gave up her life for these people, or he does give credence to it, but he tries to manipulate her with it by being like, you've already done enough. You don't need to do anything else. Just sit up in your room and paint all day. Like, no, this girl's earned her fucking freedom and the right to do whatever the hell she wants. If she wants to sit up in her room and paint all day, cool. If she wants to come help and serve the people, then fucking cool. She deserves to be able to make those decisions for herself. But anyways, I brought that up to say, not only is that such a sweet fucking line, but it's also a testament to the kind of partner that he is going to be for Feyre versus the kind of partner that she has right now. And also a nod to just how fucking powerful Rhysand is. Think about it for a second. He casually in conversation is just sometimes I think about just throwing a pulse of my power out there and destroying all civilization because I need some peace and quiet, but you know, I don't because I'm a good guy. Okay? Like, how fucking powerful are you, dude? Like,
Can you wipe Tamlin off the earth, please?
if only it was that fucking
Just
easy.
asking for a friend.
I actually think he's too good of a guy to do that, but yeah, like,
Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't actually do that.
he wouldn't.
Oh my gosh.
He sympathizes with Tamlin sometimes. Not like over the top sympathizes with him, but like he definitely Reese is a good guy. He has empathy and sympathy and like I think he knows what it's like to be in love with Feyre and not be able to have her. And that brings a certain amount of like understanding and sadness to him. But the
Mhm.
difference is no, they both kind of Reese did not put his best foot forward with Feyre, okay, in the very beginning. And Tamlin certainly didn't. Either of them is honestly lucky that she chose them at any point in time.
Yeah.
So then moving on to chapter 12, Ianthe and Tamlin and Lucian, the three fucking amigos, are in the office. They're all huddled up like they always are, having secret conversations with each other. And Ianthe is whispering, actually, she's not whispering, they're yelling at this point. And she says, we might not be able to deal with him, but there are some friends I made across the sea. So she is talking about Rhysand at that point when she says we may not be able to deal with him because basically they're having a conversation and Ianthe is like in Tamlin's ear telling him that if the other High Lords find out about Feyre and her abilities, they might try to kidnap her and breed her because of her powers. And she specifically refers to Rhysand when she's talking about this because she's basically, oh, they already have this bargain. He could refuse to bring her back one time. What are you going to do if that happens? And so she's she's like, oh, I got some friends across the sea that could take care of him. So this is where we see the first introduction of Hybern. Ianthe has been working with Hybern already. She already has that alliance with them. She started working with them when she was away for those 50 years or whatever. Now she's bringing Tamlin into the fold and she's using Rhys and his fear of Rhys taking Feyre as a way to do that. And this is only spurned on when Rhys actually does come and literally take Feyre. Was it Tamlin's fault? Absolutely. But he did literally come and take Feyre and doesn't bring her back. And I think that this is what literally spurs him to make those connections with the King of Hybern. Now, did Ianthe have a plan in her mind the whole time? Yes, she's a traitorous bitch. Like she already had her own agenda. But this is the foreshadowing for the fact that not only is she working with him, but that they will end up working with him to try to come against Rhys later on when they feel like there's no other option. And on top of that, at this point, like I said, she is talking to Tamlin about them possibly trying to breed Feyre to make a super baby, basically. And she mentions Rhys. So it just really brought it to my mind, like, we haven't even touched on how fucking strong do we think Nyx is going to be when it's all said and done?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's so true. I just don't know if we'll ever see Nyx as like a grown adult though.
But what if he starts to like manifest powers and shit as a baby because he's so fucking powerful? Think about it. She's saying that people will potentially steal her and literally keep her locked up just to breed with her because of the potential of the power
Mhm.
of her children. Not to mention, Reese is already the most powerful High Lord in history. So he's already got his own fucking immense power. What the hell is Nick's going to be able to do when it's all said and done? You're absolutely right. We might not see him come into his power, but think about the people that are going to be hunting him, wanting to take him out because of his potential. But why was he born with wings? Do we think that when he gets old enough that he'll be able to take them on and off?
I would be kind of like, what the fuck, if Nyx is able to not have wings, because I'm gonna be like, why did you have wings when you were a fetus then? I don't know.
That's
That was
fair.
just like, I will say, like, that probably was written in there to add a storyline or something for Sarah J. Maas, but I don't know if I want him to have wings or not, because I feel like if he has wings all the time, it would make more sense of like
That's
why
fair.
the pregnancy was so like, oh my god, you're gonna die. But if he could just like get rid of his wings, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck?
That's actually fair, yeah. But what about other powers that he could manifest? Do we think that he will just have the power of Reese as the High Lord, or do we think that he will be able to wield
Dude,
ice
I think
and
he's
like use fire and do all the other things
right.
that she do because of Feyre?
It's also like, a question, not even just their power too, but it's also, did something else happen when him and Feyre were basically like a breath away from dying, and Nesta was able to save him with the cauldron. Is that also going to manifest in him? There's so many things that can happen with Nyx. And I don't know. I want to see it. I would love to see Nyx like his journey and whatever. I hope we get to see more of him growing up and how his powers manifest, because he probably would be the common sense would say that he's going to be the most powerful Fae ever,
Like ever. Like his mom is the Avatar and his
literally
dad is
ever.
literally the
And then he was
like
saved the thing that created
by his aunt, so he's
like
touched by the
life.
cauldron. That's true, but then
Hmm.
I don't think we'll see that in the regular series, like you said. I think that's so far down the line. Like we might start to see little
Yeah.
bits of his power. Like it could be a spinoff or something that she does some point in the future, like a time jump. But I don't think
Yeah.
that anytime soon, but I do think it would be really interesting to see that. And then also something that I've seen going around like lately and something to think about, which I'm sure we'll talk about again when we actually get to this stretch of chapters. But the bone carver shows Feyre in Reese, like their son, he doesn't have wings. So is it Nyx? Is it another child that they possibly have? Is it that Nyx can like resand, bring his wings in and out once he hits a certain age? Or is it something else entirely? I don't know. But that's just something that like I once I read that I was like, oh
Hmm.
shit, that's such a fucking good point. When the bone carver appears as her son, he doesn't have wings.
Dude, I swear to God, if he doesn't have wings all the time, I'm gonna be like upset because because like I know like the whole pregnancy trope literally was no one's favorite thing.
Yeah.
I hate a pregnancy trope, but obviously that was written in the book to give, or I honestly like I need to know more about why the fuck Sarah J. Maas actually put that in the book. Was it just to have that connection with Feyre and Nesta? Was it to have more of a wedge
Hmm.
between Nesta and Rysand? Was it to show Rysand might be changing? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I fucking hated it. If he doesn't have wings all the time, I'm gonna be like, that's so convenient.
Yeah.
But
I didn't
also, I know in the books they actually do mention like C-sections, I think, but it's also, why couldn't a Feyre just literally change into her like Illyrian form? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense when Rysam was like, that could kill the baby. Okay, that
I'm with you
sucks,
there.
but Feyre's still alive, which means you're still alive. So you're willing to risk all three of y'all instead of just risking one. That really made no sense to me. That probably was just a writing. error or whatever, or just trying to make the story more convenient, unfortunately. But what the fuck?
Yeah, I'm sure
That was
that
like
I'll
a
have
very random rant, but
No, that's why I was asking. I'm sure I'll have more to say about it when we get to that part in A Court of Silver Flames, but I agree. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, not only is Feyre gonna die if she dies in childbirth, but you're also gonna die because you guys have made this pact. It literally, quite literally, is worth the risk of shifting and the baby still being born healthy and everything working out than for all three of you to die because you didn't want to shift to possibly hurt the baby. It 1000%, it just doesn't make sense. And I love Sarah J. Maas and I do think she's a good writer, but unless she explains that in a later book, there's some reason about that. mm, it just doesn't fucking make sense. And Reese, that's not in line with his personality either. It's not.
oh my
First of
god,
all,
I can't.
the only reason I didn't like the pregnancy trope, I don't have a problem with Feyre and Reese having a kid. I think it makes sense. I like a happily ever after. That's cute for them. The only reason I didn't like it is because Feyre 2 minutes ago was saying she's I want to have kids with you one day, but I want to do all this stuff first. And then next thing we know, she's just kidding, put a baby in me. And it's just like, all right, that escalated quickly. And then
Yeah.
yeah, and then for her to like literally almost die giving birth to this baby doesn't
It
make
literally
sense.
didn't make sense. And then also with Brysan and Feyre not even telling anyone that they made this pact, I was like, this doesn't really. I
A lot of this just
That
isn't
whole
quite adding
storyline
up.
was a
Yeah.
mess. It was a
Yeah.
mess.
Yeah, the main part of the story was great. Loved Nest and the Valkyries, but yeah, the whole side story, like you said, I don't know if they were just trying to keep Feyre in there or what, but interesting. But I am definitely interested to see what happens with Nyx now. It just seemed like a good time to bring this up because, like I said, she was talking about like any kids that they might have might be these ultimate destroyers of the world. And I was like, shit, they actually did end up having a kid. There's foreshadowing for that in and of itself, I think, thinking that
Mhm.
he was going to steal her away to have a kid. But also, they did have a kid. He's going to grow up with so much love and so much support, like from Cian and Az and all of that. So it's just going to be like such a sweet fucking story. Like, Feyre and Reese are going to be the best parents. He's got Cassie and Az. He's got Neston and Lane. He's going to be full of love and support. But it's just like, where's his story going? Now I'm interested in the Nick spinoff. Whereas before I wouldn't have
Me
even thought about
too.
it. I wouldn't have even fucking thought about it.
I need to know more about that.
But anyways, so yeah, that was just like a fun little question for me about where's his story going because I feel like he's mentioned throughout this book and the next book even though he's just an idea. He's there. He's
Just like little
present.
seeds being
Yeah, yeah.
planted. Yeah.
So very
Hmm.
interesting. And then finally, at the end of this portion of chapters, Reese takes Feyre to Valaris, the city of starlight. We know that Valaris is this gorgeous city that has been protected through Reese's mind shield. He protected it the whole time he was under the mountain with Amarantha. In fact, he basically used his last moments of freedom to protect Valaris. And we know that it's never been attacked. Most people don't know about it. He has his true home there where he stays with the inner circle. And yeah, Valaris is just that fucking place. If I could live anywhere, I would live in Valaris.
Period. Same. Literally same. I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay, you have Valores. Okay, it is on a beautiful river next to the ocean. There's mountains. There's cute little shops. There's Rita's. There's everyone seems really nice. It's super protected. It has Starfall. It has really hot Illyrian warriors named Cassie and Asriel. Like, I think I want to go there.
Yeah, I would if I could like step into a book or really any kind of fictional place, I would step right on into
Same.
Valaris.
Oh, I would too. I would be like,
Because
where are they? Where are they? I'd be like so gross.
I would just casually sit at Rita's waiting for them to make their entrance because I know they're coming.
Yeah, no,
Or
I would. Okay, this is my game plan. I would go to Rita's. I would just sit there and wait until I see a drunk blonde girl come in. I'm gonna be like, hey. And then we'll become best friends. And then one day she'll invite me.
One
to a dinner and I get to meet all of them, and then I'll just be like, "Oh my god," and I won't tell them. I know everything.
literally
And then I'm just, like, gonna casually just become their best friends, and then I'm gonna date
date the
who do I
blonde
wanna
girl's
date?
husband.
Who do I wanna date? Oh, like, I would
As is
date
free.
I know. I would be in a throuple. I don't wanna I wanna be with Cassian, and
Gotta
it's
nest his
that's kind of
toes to be
like
with Cassian.
I know. It's like it's always a meme of, do I want to be her or do I want to be with her? And for
Right.
me, Nesta, I don't wanna be with her because I picture Nesta as myself, and that's really
Right.
weird. I just wanna be her, and then I would date Asriel and Cassian.
Ooh, a
Maybe
little double
more
action
too,
there.
low key. I'd be like, "Why can't we all just get along?"
I like that. I like that.
'Cause anyway.
Okay, girl, get it.
Anyway, yeah, that would happen. Okay.
Anyways, this is how Ellie infiltrates Valaris. I love it. I love it. And I'll just be sitting there on the outskirts, like just watching, just wow, I really get to be here. I really get to be alive in this time. Life is good.
Yeah. I would just wanna marry an Illyrian's warrior who's at least like Cassian, not
Oh,
the misogynistic ones that
I was
we
like,
typically get to meet. No, different ones, the good ones.
got
There
it.
are
Like the
some good
one,
ones.
there's a couple. There's
Just
a couple.
just whoever looks exactly like Cassian, I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I like you." And then we will become best friends with Cassian and Nesta. And yeah, maybe we'll be like swingers. I don't know.
Okay. Honestly, these characters are down for a lot. Your chances are high.
Oh. I know, there's so many
Reese
characters. I
kept trying to
can't
put Feyre off on other people. He was like,
I don't I
you sure?
wouldn't. They seem open. That's why I'm like,
They're
"Ooh,
very
what if?"
like, you want to experiment? Go for it. We're 500. We've been around the block a few times. We've
But
done some things.
also, I'd be like, "Hey, Elaine, can you get your mate to come over? I
Yeah.
wanna meet him."
You don't want him,
Just
girl.
what I'll have him. And then she'll be like, "Wait, what?" And then she'll probably be like, "I love him."
Yeah, no, that is true. But then I would
When
feel
he
like
gets
vindicated because I would feel like I had a little part in their story coming together. Because I'd be like, okay, at least I know my baby Lucian's happy.
Is that how they come together? One of us is gonna enter Valaris and we're gonna infiltrate and we're gonna be like, "Elaine, I want Lucian." And she's gonna be like, "Wait, but
She's
he
like,
loves
wait,
me." And she's
literally.
gonna realize that they are meant to be, and that's how ACOTAR ends.
I think this is canon, actually. I
We should
think
write a
that's
fan fiction.
actually how it fucking happens. One of us just, you see that hottie over there with the scar over his eye and the whirly whirl and the luscious red hair and
Really?
tan skin? Like, I'm trying to holler at him. Is he available? She's gonna be like, no, he's my mate. And
Be
then
like,
they're gonna live happily
"Why
ever
aren't you with
after.
him
I'll
then?
be like, why are you over here, girl?
What
Looking
about the
at Blue
Shadow
Siphon over
Singer?
here.
Do you want him? Which one do you want? Which one can I have?
Yeah,
Let me know,
exactly.
girl." We
You
all
can't have
need
them both.
answers. You
Elaine's
can. I'd be okay with that. Like, I would
Elaine's
be okay with that.
both. Both.
I hope that's what happens. That would be crazy if Sarah J. Maas was like, "You know what? She ends up with both of them." I'd be like, "You know what? I'm okay with
You're
that.
like,
I'm okay with
period.
that.
Say less.
Let's
She's
get
like,
it."
she spends half her year in the spring court, half her year in the night court. Like
Get it, bitch. I would do
Asriel's
the
busy doing
same.
Shadow Singer shit. When he's at work, she's down there
Hey,
emissarying with Lucian.
I can't blame her because, like, I would have a hard time choosing.
Yeah, it
I
just
would
sucks
have a
that
hard
she
time
hates
choosing.
Lucian because I love Lucian. I love
I
him.
love
Sweet little
Lucian.
baby boy.
Oh my
Poor
gosh, that was
misunderstood
such a
baby boy.
weird tangent. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Yeah, sorry guys. We got off the rails with that one, but we didn't have any theories in this episode, so we figured we'd have some fun instead. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our theory of what would happen if either one of us entered Valaris. But that being said, we do hope that you guys enjoyed our discussion on Akamath today. In our next episode, we will be continuing our coverage with chapters 14 through 19. Email or DM us anything you'd like us to touch on relevant to those chapters. And finally, again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on a major podcast platform, then please review and rate. And either way, share us with your bookish friends and give us a follow over on Instagram and TikTok. We have a lot of fun over there with different memes and different clips from our episodes. So we love being a part of this community, and we just cannot thank you guys enough. Thank you so much. We love you guys. And as
Yes.
always, we want to leave you guys with a quote. And I felt like this one was pretty fitting for this stretch of chapters. So I just want to say the issue isn't whether he loved you, it's how much. Too much. Love can be poison. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.